she's going to die in two months. My mother, my dying mother, who suffered from cancer. There was nothing we could do other than the conventional road, and all her doctors discouraged us, and they said, she's going to die in two months. So just just have a good time with her, watch her suffer, and do nothing. But on that course, I happened to meet a very blessed homeopath who was also an oncologist. He's still an oncologist and a homeopath, a very brilliant mind in my town, in my hometown in Greece. And I just trusted that man without knowing him. My doctor, my homeopath doctor, just nodded his head and he said, maybe you will be surprised by the placebo that I'll give you. Unfortunately, my mother died, but she died after 7 years. So we gained 7 precious years with her.
Welcome, dear friends, to yet another episode of HomeoMitra Vartaalap, where your growth is our goal. We ensure that the guests who come to the Vartaalap always give us some information, some knowledge, which is very useful to us practically. With this, I welcome Jennifer Krasopoulos. She is a practicing homeopath, and her practice is in Greece as well as in New York. And she's also a teacher. So we are going to explore with her journey from being a teacher to becoming a homeopath. And a lot of interesting conversation is going to happen in this Vartalap. So stay tuned till the end of this video. Welcome, Jennifer. If you could tell us all a bit about yourself before we begin this Vartalap.
Thank you for having me here, Kayur. I'm greatly honored to be here. Well, my journey began uh, as a homeopath mm, maybe 10 years ago because I was I was intrigued and by a fact that I could not help my mother, my dying mother, who suffered from cancer, and there was nothing we could do other than the conventional road, and all her doctors discouraged us, and they said, she's going to die in two months. So just just have a good time with her, watch her suffer, and do nothing. But on that course, I happened to meet a very blessed homeopath who was also an oncologist. He's still an oncologist and a homeopath, a very brilliant mind in my town, in my hometown in Greece. And I just trusted that man without knowing him. And I said, whatever you can do it. And back then I was into the notion that the only thing that we could do is give her some kind of placebo because her doctors did not give her any medicine. So she thinks that she's taking something to feel better, and that she's not been abandoned by doctors and her family. And my doctor, my homeopath doctor, just nodded his head and he said, maybe you will be surprised by the placebo that I'll give you. And we started with homeopathy, the a kind of therapy with my mother. Unfortunately, my mother died, but she died after 7 years. So we gained 7 precious years with her, and her quality of life was so good, and she could admit that what she was going through and what she was living at the moment was probably the best years of her life, because she felt so mature, she felt so calm, and she felt so strong that she could deal with her illness. And that gave our whole family so much relief, and it brought us together. And the only thing that I can say is that I'm deeply grateful to my homeopath who took me into this journey by showing me that homeopathy is not placebo. And also, I need to mention that I did not believe in homeopathy when I started this journey, as many of us.
It's a very heart-touching, but as well as a heart-warming story. To, I mean, there used to be a time when the patient, or rather, there will be a time in everyone's practice where the patient will come and tell you that, doctor, you can do it. I am sure homeopathy has the potential to do it. Even when we doubt ourselves, the patients will have faith in us. That is something that this wonderful field of medicine can do to the human being.
Yeah.
Uh, so is that when you started learning homeopathy? And if yes, then where did you learn it from?
Well, we live in a very blessed era where knowledge now is given to you open-handedly. So you go online. If you have an internet connection, you have no restraints, you have no barriers. You just dive into knowledge, and I've been blessed to be learning homeopathy with many great teachers, starting with Dr. Vithoulkas, who happens to be Greek, and I'm very proud of him, and proud to have attended many of his classes. And then let's talk about Dr. Murphy. Let's talk about Dr. Farrokh Master, and Dr. I cannot pronounce his name. It's Katya, that we belong to the academy, and of course to a school that I attend in the UK. So knowledge is there. You just need to find the student who is ready to receive it. So when the student is ready, the teacher always appears. And I feel blessed to have met you too, Keyur, because you have helped me hone many of my tools so far.
You have truly spoken like a teacher yourself, because I know you yourself are a teacher. And there comes the next question. How did a teacher transit into, from being a teacher into homeopathy, whether you are still teaching as your primary profession or as one of your professions, or you have completely transitioned to homeopathy? And how has being a teacher helped you in homeopathy, practice, education, understanding?
Well, actually, I've been teaching for so long, from the time I can remember myself, and this is something that I will never abandon, teaching, um, because it's something that comes naturally out of me, and I don't see that homeopathy is something completely different from what I do. I've just seen this journey as an upgrading of my skills, because I've become a teacher because I wanted to be surrounded with people. I wanted to give what I have to people, um, and of course learn and take things from people around you, because teaching is never a one-way it's an interaction between people. You give, but you take more for some reason. And uh, because I truly love people, and this started with children, because I started teaching English to young learners first, and now I continue teaching, but I've switched to teaching adults. And teaching adults, at the moment, I'm in New York City, so I teach English to uh, immigrants who have just arrived in the United States, And in a way, they're so hopeful and so desperate at the same time. And being able to recognize what uh, what ailment could be behind this, and how to be able to address their trauma, because there's such trauma in them. I feel that my teaching has reached a higher level, and this is through homeopathy.
Well, this is the first I've heard, and therefore I would ask, dear viewers, if you could share your high point of experiencing homeopathy, like Jennifer did. That would be something very interesting for all of us to know. So, Jennifer, any particular reason for choosing the schools or teachers of homeopathy that you did?
Well, there are many reasons that you can and many criteria that you develop when you teach a teacher. And being a teacher myself, I want good teachers around me. I want teachers who can convey their knowledge in an easy way, uh, accept the fact that a student may make mistakes, may not be able to learn that fast. So this is one of the criteria. Another of my criteria is the fact that I should be able to do this online, and also do this in a synchronous and asynchronous way, because of the time, and because of the time difference. So those are my criteria. Now, big names always appear in good schools. So this is also something important. Now, being able to talk with um, Dr. Farrokh Master, for example, being able to talk with um, Dr. Murphy. We had that experience in my school. So this this is something important. This is what made me choose the schools that I attend. And I'm always learning. I never stop learning. And I'm grateful for that. And I think that you will never stop learning homeopathy. I will never put a label on my name. I'm a master, because there is so much way to go. My only regret is that I started this late in my life. I should have started this earlier.
After listening to you, what I think, or rather, I would now believe is that every homeopath should do some teaching in the beginning while they are practicing. Perhaps that would kindle the necessary, correct me if I'm wrong, if I get it right or wrong, is the necessary emotion to understand people.
Yeah. Well, I don't know if everybody should go into teaching, because not everyone has got this skill. But I will agree with you on this. If we put it into a frame, that if you, as Confucius used to say, if you see something, you forget, you listen to it, you remember, you do it, you learn. But actually, when you teach something, then you are a master of your knowledge. So if we put everybody into this teaching procedure, yes, you will master what you know.
Wonderful, wonderfully worded. So, Jennifer, how is your experience being practicing homeopathy in two different countries? How do you manage your practice? What are the kind of cases that you see? What are the challenges that you have faced? And if there is any particular anecdote that you recall?
Well, teaching it teaching is mostly what I do for a living. Um, as a homeopath, I don't feel that I am I'm ready to practice on my own. So I prefer shadowing my teachers. And of course, I have treated some cases on my own. And what I have been able to do is cure some kind of coughs that were very intense, and people used to carry those coughs for a long time. And also, where I think that I am very good at is helping people overcome some of their psychological burdens with homeopathy. So I have a line of people who call me very often, and only by talking to me and me prescribing something very simple, they feel that they have become a different person. So this gives me courage to continue. And also in the shelters that I see people, I help them a lot with their trauma. So I can say that mostly the psychological part is that I can address better, along with the coughs. And maybe this is connected to uh, my knowledge in educational psychology. I'm not a psychologist, but I've got a master's on educational psychology. So this might have helped me go deeper into this field.
There you are. You have your specialty already built in. One is psychology, the other is trauma psychology. So yes, in a few years, we will be talking about that specialty with you, I'm sure.
Oh, I hope there is no trauma around us, so it's not needed. We don't need to invent a new one.
Yes, yes, I agree with you on that. Yes. Uh, so as a teacher, what do you feel if in the last 10 years of learning homeopathy, do you think there is something different that can be done to learn homeopathy as a learner, as a teacher? Especially as a teacher, I would like to know if there is any technique you feel that can be introduced into homeopathic teaching and that would perhaps make it more absorbable for the student.
Yeah, but that's a very good question, Kayur, because I've been thinking about this a lot, and I've been attending so many seminars, and I've been through so many teaching sessions, and what is missing to my mind is giving the students the hands-on experience. So there are so many different teaching strategies that I don't see them being implemented. So what I see in the homeopathic teaching environment is that there is a presentation, and then you are allowed to ask questions. You're allowed to bring up a situation. You may discuss about that. Of course, I'm grateful for all this. But sometimes I think that you could give a different kind of teaching environment. For example, you could start with a task. You could give you could divide your students into groups and give them a task, and give them a case. And even if they're beginners are more passionate. And beginners think that they know more things, but you get them involved, you get their brain working, you get them interested, you tell them this is the case. Come on, guys, now let's go find what we can do to help this person. And let them open the materia medica, let them go to the repertories, let them talk, have a discussion, and then give your lecture. I don't know. How do you feel about this?
I agree, and that's true. Now that I recall that that is how it used to be in our MD days. That's how we would, let's say, have a case. Of course, we used to do our individual case working, and then there would be a class discussion. But yes, that the model that you are recommending is in that sense that they discuss in a group, then more minds work, and then they let's say one person will get attuned to five different levels of thinking and so on and so forth. So yeah, quite interesting. I hope that uh, if a teacher of homeopathy is listening to this and if they feel like implementing it, maybe someday even I will teach homeopathy. I will also try and implement this and see how the results come out.
And another idea is if you want to get your students to study deeply, why don't you flip the classroom? So that means that you give an assignment to your students and you say, you need to present this. Okay, study this, present that in class. So teaching comes into place now. And the student becomes a teacher, and the teacher listens, and the teacher takes notes, and then they can have a discussion in the class, and then the teacher can give his or her thoughts on what they have done correctly and what needs to be improved. So that's another good idea, I think.
So, Jennifer, this is getting implemented in India in the postgraduate level. Colleges are implementing this. The new education policy that has come up, they have started implementing the
Good.
one that you mentioned.
Good to know. Good to know.
Yes.
I would very
All
much like to visit India.
You must, and there are really some good schools of homeopathy in India, and they really give really good hands-on training, rural experiences, where you may not be able to talk much to patients, and with very bare minimum data, you have to find out the remedy and prescribe.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
So, Jennifer, any particular technique of learning, absorbing, like you said, when we are, so for example, we are reading a book. Is there any way in which we can get the best of that reading or make the best of that reading?
Another great question. I haven't perfected this skill yet, but I'm working on it. What I have found very useful is, are some techniques of um, rapid reading. Now, this is what I implement. So I take a book and I read it from cover to cover, but very fast. Okay. So I don't know if you're into this, but you need you need to take a book. I'll take this one, which is one of mine, one of my favorite ones. So you need to go from cover to cover. You start with the contents. You see what is there for you, and then you go from cover to cover. So you have the idea of what's going on in this book. It's, at least for me, it is very nice to see the whole picture first. You just give me the whole picture, and then I focus into detail. And then I start reading uh, the things that I should in the order that the book suggests, and I take notes. Um, my books are not good to resell. So I've got quite a lot of books, but I take so many notes on them. I highlight things. And then what is a lifesaver and what I do to learn is I make my flashcards. And I make flashcards. Just let me show you something like this. So I write the remedy on one side and then the keynotes on the other side. And I keep them in a shoebox on my coffee table. So whenever I have some free time, I go over and over and over the same notes So it is impossible not to learn. And I keep doing this.
Yeah, quite an interesting technique. I think this card learning, if I'm not wrong, there is a particular exam. It is, I think, the graduate registration (GRE), which the tutorial there are some cards which they use, and I think implementing this in learning homeopathy would also be useful. You create your own notes, you create your own cards, and then keep going over them again and again. Quite interesting.
You
Electronically.
can also do this. There are so many applications that you can use, and you can make your own flashcards and carry them on your phone. I'm more traditional. I do also this because when I commute, I like to go over my notes. So I don't want to carry my shoebox with me. So I use this online. And there's so many applications out there that you can use.
Any
And
one particular application you would want to name over here so people can get a reference?
well, what comes up to me now is um, acne, I think they call it. Then you can also make Kahoot games for yourself. What I do for my students, I do for myself. And there is another application, but I don't remember the name. Cannot recall the name at this time. But there are many out there. You just say flashcards. And even if you buy some books online with Amazon, Kindle gives you um, this application, so you can highlight things and you can turn them into flashcards. So you can use this all the time.
Dear viewers, let us try what Jennifer has recommended, at least for some time, and see how it works for us. Because I am sure this will rekindle the memories of whatever we have learned every time we see a flashcard, and then it becomes more ingrained into the memory.
It really helps me. And I've seen this work with my students for many years. So it's a no-brainer. You go do it.
So we are coming towards the end of the Vartalap. Jennifer, if there is any other experience that you would like to share from your learning, from your cases, please do. Uh, and towards the end, we have a segment called as Vartalap Motivation, where we would request you to tell us something motivating.
Okay. Now I try to recall anything interesting as a case. Nothing that special. I think that the most interesting case that I have been through is my mother's case with cancer. Um, and this will remain into my heart forever. Forever grateful to homeopathy and Dr. Khalwadzis for walking me through this path.
Great. So any take-home message, any motivational message? Like I said, we have this last segment, which is Vartalap Motivation, which will be a separate clip, which we'll be posting. If you want to tell us, tell your listeners anything.
Yeah. So because when I started learning and studying homeopathy, I had no allies in my family. Nobody was on my side. And my social environment was also very skeptical and discouraging, very discouraging. Come on, Jennifer, you're over 40. You will not make it. There is no reason why should you go into this path. Yes, actually, I don't want to do it because I want to make money. Okay, so I don't see this as a career that will bring me a lot of money. But if you feel this passion, if you feel this drive, I would like to give some my personal motto to everybody, that circumstances don't matter. Only what you want to do matters. So only your being is what matters. What you want to do is what will give you the wings to fly and do what you want to do. So don't mind about the circumstances. Whatever you want to do, you will do.
Well, that was indeed encouraging, and hope we will meet again soon, Jennifer, with perhaps a different dimension of learning homeopathy. Like I said, I am now keen on understanding the kind of good effect that homeopathy would do on trauma cases, and yes, particularly I'm very intrigued by the technique that you are using, while talking to patients, and just them talking to you makes them feel better with a couple of doses of homeopathy, maybe a few doses of homeopathy, is something that I am very keen on knowing from you in one of the future Vartalaps. So do tell us, dear viewers, if you are also interested in that, and if there is anything else you would like to know from Jennifer.
Thank you. I'm really honored to be here with you, KO, and looking forward to seeing you again.
Thank you once again, Jennifer, for being part of the Vartalap. And yes, dear viewers, do subscribe to the channel that you are watching. Do share the link of the YouTube channel and the videos with everyone, and so that everyone of us can benefit from this. All right. Thank
Thank
you
you.
once again, Jennifer.